welcome to episode 2 of the Balanced Approach podcast, where today we'll be talking about one of the two most important things for weight loss. So, bit of a backstory. Up until I was studying for my undergraduate degree, I didn't really understand how weight loss worked. I tried lots of different things, and it wasn't until I read the research and understood it that allowed me to lose weight, but also help others. So, things like how weight loss actually works, what the research suggests is the best way to do so, what this actually means to look like in the real world, and where I'd previously gone wrong. So where I'd gone wrong, I tried every diet under the sun. I'd done keto, I'd done diet shakes, I'd done fasting, 5-2, 16-8, I'd done meal plans, I'd done pretty much anything, taking fat loss supplements, anything I get my hands on in order to lose weight. I was there and I've done it. So very much like most people. What I found was most of these worked in the short term, but as soon as I made a bit of progress, for some reason, it just wouldn't work for me. I'd revert back to my old ways, and I'd maybe even put on more weight, which is really disheartening because I try really hard with these diets, and I imagine a lot of people feel very similar. So what actually happened was that I was looking at the wrong thing, as many people do. And when I speak to clients and people in general, most of the things that is a common thing that is across this is people actually looking at the wrong thing. They are looking at the method rather than the actual underlying principle. So there's two quotes that I thought would be really interesting to share, both by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The first one is, "Methods are many, but principles are few. Methods always change, principles never do." The second is, "The man who grasps principles can successfully select his own methods. The man who tries methods by ignoring principles is sure to have trouble." So what does this all mean? Well, principles, what my man Ralph was speaking about there, are basically fundamental truths. Things that underpin how things work. Methods, on the other hand, are ways to achieve that principle. So specific techniques, different diets in this case, that allow us to achieve that principle. And hopefully now you're getting to grips, instead of thinking, now, why am I talking about all this? What does it actually mean? What has this got to do with weight loss? When it came to weight loss, all the diets that I mentioned were different methods, and actually I was looking at the wrong thing. And the underlying principle, which was achieving a calorie deficit, apologies if that's new information to you, I was jumping from method to method without actually looking at what I was trying to achieve. Whether you like it or not, weight loss is achieved by taking in less energy than your body needs or body burns. If you're sitting there thinking, well, calorie deficit didn't work for me, now there's two different ways that people could feel that resonates with them. First is that they are thinking that calorie counting is a calorie deficit, when actually a calorie counting is a method to achieve a calorie deficit, just like keto, just like intermittent fasting. They're all different methods. Calorie counting can be a great way to achieve a calorie deficit, but if it's not done correctly, then it actually won't help us lose weight. The second is that people think that they've done a calorie deficit before, and actually they had a perceived calorie deficit versus an actual calorie deficit, when if you're counting calories and you think that you're in a calorie deficit and you're not losing weight, you're not actually in a calorie deficit. But that is something that we need to discuss on another episode. One of the things that I found really liberating about this, and actually a lot of people and a lot of my clients have found, is that when you understand the principles of weight loss, which is creating a calorie deficit, taking in less energy than your body needs, you can select whichever method or whichever parts of methods that are going to help you achieve that. This can be really liberating and stop people feeling the fear to step away from a certain way of eating, because realistically they don't have to abide by these certain rules that they found really restrictive and didn't fit their lifestyle. And like when I said, when I could stick to a certain diet for a certain amount of period, I'd eventually end up feeling that it didn't fit my lifestyle, it wasn't aligned with my values and goals, and I'd sort of rebel and go back to my old ways. Therefore, that was probably the wrong method for me. This is really useful for people because, like I said, it to feel free, give them a lot more flexibility with the way that they're eating. And whilst I wouldn't recommend a lot of the diets that I tried, hopefully it allows you to understand why they were successful. They just helped you take in less energy than your body burning. When they stopped working, it means that you weren't taking in or eating less energy than your body needs. Again, knowing that allows you to choose and eat a little bit more flexibly and not feel ruled by all these rules, certain habits and behaviours that these specific diets claim are the reason that causes weight loss. So some diets may claim that certain foods, certain habits and practices are the reason that we either lose weight or gain weight. Common ones are being, if we're having carbohydrates, we're going to gain weight. If you're eating breakfast or skipping breakfast, then you're going to gain weight or lose weight. If you're eating no protein, if you're eating certain vegetables, gluten, lots of different reasons, and you'll hear them on the internet, you'll see them on social media, people saying this is the one food group you should avoid or include for weight loss. And whilst it can seem in certain instances where we see anecdotal or individuals saying, I did this and lost weight, therefore this is the reason why we can all lose weight, actually we know it all comes down to being that calorie deficit. It is shown in time and time again when studies are conducted comparing person A with person B, no matter what method they're comparing to another, when calories are matched, which is the underlying principle, then we know people are going to lose weight similarly, and there are no differences in weight loss outcomes. I know when I realised this, it allowed me to stick to my diet for longer because I knew that I could be more flexible. I could have lower calorie days and higher calorie days depending on what suited my lifestyle better. It allowed me to overcome plateaus. It allowed me to achieve my weight loss, which was around 30 kilos or 66 pounds, and maintain that weight loss long term. And this has helped me help countless people who I work with privately, who I've worked with in the NHS, lose weight and maintain it, and quite liberating for them also. One example is a gentleman who is 80 years old. He lost 20 kilos, type 2 diabetic, COPD, and he lost 25% of his body weight to get his BMI down and improve his health markers across the board. It also helped him become more relaxed with his diet, allowed him to enjoy it a bit more, finding ways and habits for him to achieve that calorie deficit consistently across a long period of time, which allowed him to really, really enjoy life and thrive. So one of the key takeaways I want you to take away from this is that, one, a calorie deficit is the underlying principle. Yes, people might talk about different methods and different ways to achieve that, but if you can achieve a calorie deficit and be really flexible, that's definitely probably the best way for you to go. You don't have to be tied to a certain method, certain diet in order to lose weight. It comes down to a simple principle of energy balance, taking in less energy than your body burns. Every diet can help you lose weight or achieve this. Throughout all these episodes as we move forward, we'll sort of discuss individual diets, the pros and cons, potentially who they might be more beneficial for, potential pitfalls that I see commonly by people who've used these dieting practices in the past, and hopefully give you a bit more of a balanced and rounded approach to dieting. So thank you very much for listening to today's episode of the Balanced Approach podcast. If you have any questions or queries or would like to reach out to me, please do. I am at Louis Padian Nutrition, which is at LOUISPADIAN Nutrition on all social media platforms, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next episode.